What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Light back at another YouTube video. And in today's video we're going to be doing the problem with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, just before we get into this, I know some people might be thinking to themselves or comment section or whatever, they might be thinking, oh, Guardians 2 is a good movie, and I definitely do think that, but yeah, the point of these series is not to pick out oh, these movies are bad or anything. It's more to pick out like problems with them and some problems they have might have and leading to like why they're not an exceptionally good movie, for example. So yeah, this is kind of like what a series I'm going to go with, where I basically just talk about problems with movies, which is like stuff maybe that could have been easily fixed or whatever. So yeah, in today's video, we're going to be doing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I actually just finished watching it, so it's fresh in my mind with some of the critiques I have for it. Uh, but anyways, let's get into it. So yeah, again, I want to just start off by saying I do actually really enjoy this movie. It's still a good movie. I like it a lot. But of course, I'm not going to be talking about Guardians 1 here. I'm only going to be talking about the second one here. Because first one I didn't really have huge, massive problems with, but it's per se more around this one. So yeah. Anyways, let's get into it. So yeah, like I just said, it's a good movie and everything. So I'm not gonna. This is in no means I'm like, yeah, this is a terrible movie or something like that. That's not the point of this. This is just more critiques and stuff. As I want to kind of do this, I don't know what movies I might do with it. Uh, I'm gonna go particularly for movies that are about like the higher scale in terms of rating wise, like a over 8 out of 10, I would say, or 7 out of 10 in my personal scale. So I'll be going with a lot of those movies. Like maybe I'll do Endgame next because that there's a few problems with that as well. But I mean, yeah. So as everybody knows, Guardians One was probably one of the better, like one of the best MCU movies of all time. But then we watched this one, and it was a slight drop down for many particular reasons, which I'll get into in just now. But I mean, it's still decent. It's still pretty good. I mean, I didn't have any problem with it. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, that's wrong. I do have a few things critiques with it. But I mean, for all it's worth, it's a pretty good movie. I do enjoy it. Uh, yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. So yeah. Anyways, and these are not gonna really be reviews per se. It's just more critiques and stuff. Stuff maybe they could improve on and whatnot. Uh, so yeah. Anyways, let's get into it. So the first critique I have is definitely with Ego. Now, don't get me wrong, Ego's pretty interesting. It's still an interesting villain for the movie and everything. But there's one thing I very much didn't like too much from it is it kind of strayed off the pathway there because it felt like the Guardians of the Galaxy was going in a kind of certain direction towards like they were gonna end up fighting Thanos or whatnot, and even maybe they could have maybe delayed this like a year or two. I know people were eager to see a second one and whatnot, but I mean, it could have been actually a little bit interesting if maybe they put this movie after Endgame, because definitely that could be a little bit more interesting in terms of like villain wise, because it felt like as if maybe the Guardians should have been like versing someone else on the pathway to like Thanos or something. But at the same time, it's all right at a sense. Like I'm not too sure what they're doing for Guardians 3, but I mean this could have worked as a storyline for Guardians 3. But I mean at the same time, I understand why James Gunn made Ego the villain because he wants to create some good characters and character building and stuff like that. So I understand why they did it, but at the same time, it was like yeah, I just didn't feel like the villain was a very good villain in a sense. Personally, and I didn't. Another big problem is it stayed on the topic of Ego for a little bit too long. I mean, essentially the movie goes like this. It's literally in terms of like Peter Quill's character, he literally just like they escape from the Sovereign Rain and they head straight to Ego. That's basically, and they stay there for the rest of the movie. That's basically what happens with it. But I mean, James Gunn found a way to make it interesting through humor and action and stuff like that, and good music choices and everything. But I mean, I wish maybe we could have gotten another like mission or two. That could have been improved the movie much better, similar to the way Guardians One is. I mean, what that could be, maybe like we could have seen another, like another mission detailing something else. Maybe showing them do like another mission similar to like the Sovereign Reign mission. Maybe even like the Guardians fights like a bit of the Sovereign Reign. Uh, Something else would have been completely fine. Uh, just maybe a mention of maybe Thanos or something. I don't know. It felt like it was missing a little bit of something there. I feel like they've spent a lot of like too much time on Ego, especially when they're split up like this. It kind of was boring me a little bit in terms of that factor. I mean, thankfully we got the Yondu and Rocket Raccoon stuff in that arc. But I mean, it could have been also interested maybe to see like the Guardians of the Galaxy maybe together. I know this would maybe take away from Yondu's character, but maybe they could have had like Ego help them, and then they would go to Ego. So that's something would have liked to see. But I mean, at the same time, it kind of takes away from Yondu's character. So it's not a huge thing. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Another thing too is I felt in this movie particularly, they focused a lot on certain characters, and I wasn't a huge fan of it personally. Like they focused a lot on Yondu, and I understand why they want to create some emotion towards Yondu and everything. Same with Peter Quill, uh, and kind of like Rocket Raccoon and Groot. But at the same time, you got the rest of the members, and also the focus was kind of on Gamora and Nebula as well. It kind of takes away a little bit from the other characters, and I just felt like, yeah, it's not too good. I mean, in all honesty, I thought Drax was kind of just there to me, honestly, in this movie. I wasn't. Yeah, he delivered some pretty interesting scenes and whatnot. Again, like speaking on the topic of like family and everything, but at the same time, it was just like, what purpose did he really serve? I mean, he was kind of just there for comedic relief, and it wasn't just the comedic relief was good for the most part, but sometimes it was just kind of stupid, and I didn't really like it too much. So that was another thing I didn't really wasn't really liking in terms. Same with Mantis, she kind of served no purpose. Uh, you could have said me. I mean, Groot's just a baby, so it's very different than that. But I mean, if Groot was like a full adult, I don't think he would really be that fun of a character in this as he was in Guardians One. So that's one thing as well. But I mean, it did do some character building on Star Lord and Yondu. That's what I'm kind of happy about for Guardians 3 because the team. I don't mean to like. Of course, I like these characters and everything, but the team's getting a little bit downsized. At least that we know of. It's getting downsized, so that leaves a lot more room to focus on new characters and stuff like that. Uh, Even if they get new characters added to the team now, could be interesting as well. So that's just one thing I'm liking. I mean, of course, I like Gamora and everything, but personally, I wouldn't mind seeing her just stay dead because I just feel like it could be a more of an excuse to focus more on Rocket Raccoon or Groot or another character if they get added new characters or something. So that's just something I was thinking of. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like the team and everything. It's just it kind of lacks in some of those spots. Uh, Another thing, I've heard a lot of people critique this movie, and I definitely think it's a good critique too. Is that sometimes the humor just screws up the whole scene. I can't even lie. Humor in the movie is very funny. I do enjoy it. Like the Taserface stuff is funny and all. Just if you watch that scene again, you would realize Rocket says it way too much, and it just after a while, just like it's not really funny. I don't know if James Gunn meant it in that way, but to me, it wasn't. It was funny the first couple times he was saying it was funny, but then eventually he's just like Taserface, Taser. And I have a sense that maybe James Gunn actually meant it that way because yeah, why not? He just kind of meant it that way. But that's just one instance. Another instance, for example, is when we're having a heartfelt moment with Peter Quill as he's fighting his father. That was like a more serious toned moment where they're fighting each other, and when the created constructs, Ego chose himself, of course, and then Peter ended up choosing Pac-Man, which just completely screwed with the scene. It's just like that was a bit unnecessary. I mean, of course, it's like kind of funny in a sense, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, that kind of screwed up a good scene there that they had going, and I was just like, yeah, that's a bit of a screw up there. So I wasn't enjoying that too much. But I mean, it still had a level to where I was like, oh yeah, still kind of feeling bad, even though that just happened. But I mean, yeah, that was a bit of a problem there. Uh, I mean, most of it was pretty good, of course. Other than like, I kind of wish they went other places and stuff. Maybe did some other stuff and whatnot. But I mean, other than that, like it's a pretty good movie and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty interesting to me. But that's just some of the critiques I have. But anyways, leave a comment down below if you guys want to see me do if you guys want to recommend me a movie to do in an MCU movie, DCU movie. Doesn't even matter what movie it is. It can be honestly anything. I personally have no preference unless I can't find it or something. At least I don't have it or something. But I mean, I'm willing to do any movie, honestly. Even if it's like the biggest masterpiece, like Dark Knight or something. Those will be a little bit harder to do. But currently, right now, I'm sticking to more like mid and over movies. Yeah. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.